Starting Skype.
Okay, sorry.
All right. What you want to record it right on the minute?
Sure.
10 seconds. 5 seconds.
3 seconds. Got it. Hi.
Started off with some moment of silence.
A moment of silence for my sanity.
Hi, Becca.
Hi.
We're live.
We're live. We're live. We're live.
Can't go without saying that.
We're live. Yeah.
Live.
Live. Hi. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Got a little. So I figured out the fireplace. Had a little issue with the fireplace over the weekend. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. The end result wasn't a good fire because the damper was closed.
Yes.
So there's a little smoky down here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the man who's fired a kiln before.
It's not intuitive the way the damper works. You would think that when it's really tight, that means that it's holding the damper open, but that's not the case. It's like apparently you let it loose and that means the damper's open. The little like pull chain thing. And it's not as tight, which doesn't make sense to me. But nevertheless, I had a fire this weekend and I fired a little bit in there today, even though I wasn't out here just chilling by it, but it's kind of fun. And then I was just doing some glazing in the studio, so not a ton of work happening. I want to get a glaze kiln done. It's hard to like start fresh glazing stuff because I don't have anything that's already glazed and sitting on shelves like waiting to go into a kiln because of the move. So I've actually got to go from like 0 to a full glaze load, and it's taking a bit. And I don't have like a sink, like a utility sink down here like I did at the old studio. Yeah. So it's kind of like, it's a little bit weird. Like I want to be cautious about rinsing stuff. And so I basically have another 5-gallon bucket of cat litter bucket that I use for rinsing water and stuff like that. So
yeah,
that's not been too bad, but I think I got 2/3 of a kiln maybe.
Nice.
So
how was the show last night? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we went to, it was a Dave Chappelle screening of his documentary. So last year during the pandemic, he had those shows in Yellow Springs, Ohio, which if you don't know where that's at in relation to here, actually Amy mentioned it, that she lived there, but it's about like an hour and a half, hour and 15 from Cincinnati. So it was like kind of like a local crowd and local show. So it was good to have it there, and I think people appreciated I didn't realize the like economic impact of it. They were doing the shows, and it seems like, oh, they want to do shows because there's no entertainment going on and there's no comedians doing work right now. But it's also like he's bringing in business for the local clientele and the local businesses there that are having no traffic, because it is kind of like a tourist-ish town for like hiking and like small town kind of stuff. So it would be like, if you have somebody popular that was in Monroe that could bring crowds there and bring business, that like that would be beneficial. So I think that was a big part of it that came across in the documentary that I got out of it. At the end they were saying like he brought like $9 million of economic impact to the city during those shows. I think they did like 51 or something.
Wow.
Over the summer last year, so it was pretty sweet.
So you didn't go see Dave Chappelle?
He was there, but they had 2 comedians that like opened. They had like a little DJ there at the beginning. And then Jeff Ross was there. Do you know who that is? And then Ronnie Chang, I think. He's on the Daily Show. He's like a correspondent, I guess, on the Daily Show. and then they played the documentary, which was about 70 minutes long, I think.
Okay.
And then Dave Chappelle came out after and chatted a little bit, but he also brought like musical people there. So there was like some rap artists that were local. Like a couple of
Cool.
them sang like one song, and then like Bone Thugs and Harmony was there, and they did like 3 songs. And then we ended up leaving after that. Like I've never been to like a rap concert. I don't know that I'll be going back to a rap concert or intentionally going to a rap concert. I mean, I'm like, I think I know these Bone Thug songs, but I don't recognize because they like it's all there's like a lot of beat to it, but you can't really understand what they're saying because they're shouting over each other and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it's like, I mean, it's more about the hype and like if you're into it and you're standing up and like I'm not a stand up crowd person unless it's at a show that I'm like into. But if I don't know what's going on, like I just wasn't as into that part of it.
Hear a Michael Bublé
Hell yeah, Michael
sit and eat
Bublé, Nora
popcorn.
Jones, sit down and just listen. Like that's why I like comedy shows. You just sit down and listen. Like you're not like up and standing. I mean, I have gone to concerts where I've stood. That's mostly like country concerts or something where I'm in a lawn or in a pit or
Yeah.
something and you stand. Um, but I mean, I just like listen to music and stuff. But yeah, so that was the show. He didn't do a ton of like just comedy unless he did more after we left. But I think it was more about like showcasing the documentary. And
Hmm.
then they were doing that screening in like 10 cities, I think.
Yeah, they did it in Indianapolis.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Was it last week, maybe?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you were saying you wish you could have gone. Or I guess you thought it was like him doing stand up, right?
A little bit, but I kind of heard about it later too, what it was. I said I was jealous.
Yeah, I mean there was definitely stand up in the documentary. So like him doing
Yeah.
stand up and then like Michelle Wolf was a big feature in it. Chris Rock was in it and some other comedians were in it and they were doing,
Hmm.
some of their stand up. So yeah, it was
Yeah,
good.
didn't he like sue Netflix or something because he felt like they botched the documentary or something like that because they like didn't allow it to be seen.
Um, I mean, I think it was like the film festivals or something. I
Oh,
don't know if it was supposed to be on Netflix. I mean, he took it to the Tribeca Film Festival, I think,
yeah, he was all
but
pissed
other
about
film
it.
festivals like denied him being able to
Yeah.
like get a deal or something to show it like officially. So he kind of like put it out himself by these like theater tours for now.
Yeah, he's
So
like, I'm Dave Chappelle and I'll do whatever the fuck I want because I'm the most famous comedian alive.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. So that was pretty good. I hope to see him in like actually a comedy show at some point.
hmm.
I wish we could have gone to some at the farm last year or at the pavilion in Yellow Springs, but like you don't really hear about the shows because I mean the shows were held for like 120 people or like upwards
They were
of
expensive too. I
a
think they
few
were like
hundred people.
1,500.
Yeah,
I
like
think
they were probably not cheap.
yeah, they were like 1,500 a pop or something like that.
Yeah,
Mm, it's a
so
lot.
pretty nuts. I don't know if it was started at that or if it progressed to
Yeah.
that, but I mean they were probably being resold and stuff too. But
Yeah.
yeah, pretty
Dang.
nuts.
Fun. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I think I'll be going to some more comedy shows here in the coming future.
Yeah.
So, all right. How about you? What's going on? What's new?
I have had a shit show of a day. It's just been a fucking
Why is that?
so this morning started out fine and then I went to the studio, loaded up the kiln with all of the mugs that I'm gonna do an update for on Saturday.
Fancy update.
Fancy update. You know what? We should release this episode on Saturday so that
We can do
when
that.
it when it comes out, 12 o'clock, guys, 12 o'clock today. Um, so that you guys
Saturday, November 20th, 12
November
o'clock.
20th, 12 o'clock.
Some fancy cups. They're going to go
Fancy
quick.
cup.
Do you know how many you have?
I think I have like 10 or 15.
Okay.
And I made some that didn't have any designs on them, so I'm just gonna sand them down so they're super fucking smooth.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm excited about those ones. And did you figure out, did you see my What fancy means?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what the acronym for it.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome, not cheap, yo.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it on here before.
I think it's so funny. I still think it's really funny. Anyway, I went back to get Lloyd at my apartment because we have a mouse at the studio. And so he is our mouse catcher. Um, we haven't tried this before, but
We're
hopefully
gonna
hopefully
give
he
it a
kills a
go.
mouse tonight. And so he's at the studio tonight and I promptly get into my car with Lloyd and it's completely dead. So I call my property manager and I was like, "Can you please jump my car?" And I have cables, always have, always will. And so she jumped my car and then I came to work and I kind of forgot about it. And yeah, and then I was at work for a while and then I left at like 8:30. I get out to my car, can't open the fucking car because it's completely dead. Like 100% dead. And I
Wait, you
try to
don't even have a key on your fob? I know you
Oh,
got a key
wait.
fob, but it doesn't even have a
Oh,
key on it?
wait. No, it has a key, and I like put it into the key slot. And it wouldn't even unlock the car. Like it took me 10 minutes of like jiggling the key just to
Oh
get the
my
key the
God.
car unlocked. I was like, I thought that the key was supposed to unlock the car.
I thought the
Um,
key was a mechanical thing. I don't think it's an
it
electronic thing like
is.
it should
It
be,
is.
right?
I think that I just haven't unlocked my car with the key things very much. So like the
Did your
actual
trunk
key.
unlock with the key?
No. Or
Oh,
else I would have tried that first. The trunk doesn't even have a key slot.
wow.
I don't
Did you go to
think.
the other side too?
I did. There's no key slot on the other side.
Damn.
I
That
know.
sounds like a fault of the.
It is a vault. So anyway, so then my car's dead. So Abby, thank God, was still there. So she jumped my car. And it's so funny. Everybody that I asked to jump my car was like, I've never done this before, or it's been a while, you know? And I'm like, I got this. It's fine.
No, I've done this before.
I've done this a billion times. One time I was jumping my car and this lady at the at the Chase Bank was so gracious to help me, and I accidentally lit the jumper cables on fire,
Oh my gosh.
and I successfully hid it from her. It was great. Anyway, so yeah, and then I got home and turned the car off, completely dead. Dead, dead, dead. It's dead. So Joe, my friend Joe thinks that it's the alternator. It is cold, so it could be a shitty battery,
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say you could go to like AutoZone or something and get a battery check to see if
I could go to AutoZone if I could get to
if
AutoZone.
you could. Well, yeah, that's a given. But
And then what sucks even more is that I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow at 8:35 in the morning. And so, but thankfully Joe's going to take me to the doctor's appointment. And so,
nice.
yeah. And on top of all of that, Sunday I just finished that stupid ass show that was 5 days long.
We're gonna
And
have plenty of time to talk about the show, people. That's what
yeah,
we're here for today.
that's what we're here for today. Becca's commentary on a fucking trade show. Um, I haven't listened to what I said earlier. I think I was really optimistic in the podcast earlier about this show. And
About your sales expectations?
yeah, and I think that I don't know what I was thinking because I think like originally I didn't know which show it was. And then I found out that it was the hobby and craft show. And I was like, okay, it's fine. It's fine. It'll be fine. If I was in Washington, my sales would be completely different than here.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll talk about it later. Anyway, so yeah, that ended. It's just been a fucking wild ride. Wild ride.
Nice. Well, I hope those fancy cups come out. You had some smaller things too. Are those
Pinch
single
pot.
color? Okay. Are
Yeah.
those going in the update too, or are they just the fancy
Yeah.
cups?
Yeah, they're going
Okay.
in the update. I mean, hopefully the update happens if I can get to the studio.
Oh, it'll fucking happen.
It'll
Your
fuck.
kiln was firing though, right?
Yeah, the kiln's fine. The kiln's
Okay,
like
so the
firing and
kiln's
everything.
firing, so at least stuff will be there for you.
Yeah, I just have to figure out
Hopefully
how
you
to
can get there.
get there. Like, if it is the alternator, that like requires things,
Maintenance. Yeah.
and if it's the battery, then that's fucking great. I would love for it to be the battery.
Yeah, battery's easy. Easy peasy fix.
Yeah, and there's an AutoZone like up the road. So, yeah.
Have you had to jump cars a lot? I mean, it sounds like
Oh,
you have.
I'm
Have
a
you
professional car
considered,
jumper.
don't they give you like, can't you buy those like jumper boxes things and stuff?
I probably need to get one.
Yeah, I mean, if you have this much experience and you're like, move aside, I know what I'm doing, like, how much would one of those cost? Especially when you only have one vehicle, right? I mean, there's no backup.
I know.
You know a
Well,
few
in
people
in
here that could help out,
Washington,
but
in Monroe, easy peasy, like not an issue, right? Somebody was always there that I knew, but not
right.
here.
And I mean, it was walkable to what you were doing. Like you could
Yeah.
get through what you're doing by just walking.
Yeah, my car could be dead for 2 days and it would be fine. So,
Right.
but yeah, and the fucking Napa was literally across the street. So,
Get that Napa know-how.
yeah. But yeah, so that'll be fun to figure out tomorrow. Yeah. Shall we move on?
Yeah, I wanted to read a comment because somebody was listening to our recent episodes and wrote us on Instagram, and I thought it was funny. So, Christopher Boyd from Chris Boyd Pottery. He said, "Hey guys, I had fun listening to the bickering over shitty kilns." Charles,
Charles. Rude.
give Charles a minute.
Okay.
All right. I had fun listening to bickering over shitty kilns. Ryan, I've always had shitty kilns that I tinker with and keep them going, so I understand your motivation. Having said that, I just got the L&L E23T with quad elements and the Genesis controller with Wi-Fi. It's amazing. I can now side with Becca on the kiln log, but instead of a mental note, I get to take a screenshot of the app when it's in the final hold. That goes into my file and has most of the info I need, minus the witness cone photo I'll take later and add to the photo under the firing number in my database. So, still logging stuff, saving it digitally, but nonetheless,
Yep.
it's got to be so nice when you upgrade to that new kiln and you're just like, no worries in the world.
There's still a few worries.
For a
If you're not
period of
worried a
time,
little
like,
bit, yeah. If you're not worried a little bit, then you're doing something wrong. But
yeah,
you should always have a tiny speck of fear in
yeah.
anything that you do.
You gotta be humbled a little bit, so don't feel like you're
Yeah.
flying with no risks here. Actually,
Yeah.
that brings up a point. L&L reached out to me because I started tagging them recently in some stories and stuff.
Are they gonna give you a brand new kiln?
No, they're not giving me a brand new kiln. No, I haven't
L&L,
got
come
that.
on.
I haven't got that ballsy with it to ask him for a brand new kiln. No, they just reached out and they said, "Hey, I see you had a couple of kilns. I think it was when I was moving out of my studio and I showed the two kilns side by side and I tagged each of them and stuff." So they were like, "Can we get some genuine feedback from you about your kiln experience? You know, what you like and don't like about the kilns that you have, especially the L&L, because that's what I got." So, yeah. So I was mainly talking about like the issues I have with loading it and getting those air difference firing things because of the 3 thermocouples and the air difference. It shuts my kiln off and I gotta move like 2 things out of the way and then refire it. So they said that error difference code is based on a 50-degree difference from thermocouples.
Yep.
And they were like, what would you expect? Like, what would you prefer to happen?
One thermocouple. That's what I'd prefer.
So they did come back with some feedback. I was saying I would rather it like let me know, but let it go and like let me know after or whatever. Like let me know an error was thrown, but don't stop the kiln. Like keep it going and let that be my risk. And the witness cones are going to tell me what the actual temperature ended up being on those shelves. Like shutting it off and having me reload and unload and do all that work is just a waste of electricity in my mind. I would rather have a whole shelf of underfired pots or
Yeah, for
overfired
sure.
pots than a whole kiln that I have to reload. So they said that's good feedback. They're trying to figure that out with their next controller. Sorry, that was L&L. L&L. And then he mentioned a single zone and a 2 zone. So they do have a setting on there apparently that is only using 2 thermocouples or 1 thermocouple. So there's a setting where won't be an issue for me. So I'm thinking about trying to look up the manual and figure out how to do that.
Yeah, you can somebody told Rebecca you can turn off the top and the bottom thermocouples, and he was like, I don't recommend it. You're gonna have to Google it, but
Yeah.
you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, he said it was called single zone and double zone or something like
Okay.
that. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it up. I wonder if it's probably conditional where you can choose like which thermocouples. I would assume I would
Yeah.
probably want the bottom and the top or something.
Right. Or
Or the
just the
middle
middle.
and the top.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. You
Yeah.
still have to move around them and stuff, but I mean
Yeah.
that's pretty neat that
I
that's an
mean, really,
option.
you could take it out.
I don't know that I want to take them out
I know, but
yet.
like you could just take one out and stuff it with some
Yeah. I
stuff
mean,
you.
if anything, I would probably take the bottom one out
Yeah.
because it's so low. Like, I mean, the bottom one is like 3 inches up from the bottom shelf. It's like, what are we doing
Yeah,
here?
my new kiln has 3 thermocouples, and every time I look at it, I'm like, God damn it.
So I'm gonna look up that double zone fire. So I guess the moral is, reach out to those companies and don't like. I kind of feel bad about it because I'm like, hey, like there's nothing I can do. I got to shift it around. But when you actually get to talk with the company that makes the kilns and knows the thermocouples and all that stuff, like they can actually give you advice that's gonna tell you a good
Brian,
answer
next
that could
time
fit with it. So
I need to be your like PR or something because like next time you're like, I could give you this advice for a price.
what?
Free kiln. I would like a free brand new fucking kiln.
Wait, I was gonna leverage my expertise for a
Yes.
kiln.
Yes.
But you know what could happen? They could come back and they could say, "Hey, we have a new controller. We'd like to give you this upgraded controller if you want to fit it with your kiln." Or, "Hey, we're going to be at Nsika, which breaking news. Nsika is going to be in Cincinnati in 2023. I don't know who
Fuck
knows that.
yeah.
There's probably a group that knows that. That's a small group. But L&L, hey, shout out. Um
Give us a free kiln or a
and then
free
on
controller.
this on the side we had I don't know if I told you this, but Bartlett Controller reached out to me for a testimonial about their controller.
What the fuck?
Because I have their controller, so I gave them some feedback and asked them some questions and stuff. So
And you were like, I would love to give you some feedback if you could give me the new Genesis controller.
I
I'd be.
mean, it literally took me like 3 months to reply to their 4 questions because I was so busy that I never prioritized it. So I kind of feel bad about that,
Oh my God.
but
Look
I gave
at
them a.
her butt.
I'm over that song at this point. Every time I hear that now, I'm like, skip. Like, I get it. I've heard it like 60 fucking times or however many times. I'm like, onward.
I just like saying, oh my God, like that. Oh my God. Well, I'm disappointed in you. You had an opportunity and you just shot it down into the ground.
Hey, I'll give out some free, put out those like free feelers out there. Let them
L&L
appreciate it. Just
or
like I did with
any.
Speedball. Hey, any of these things, you tag companies that you like their stuff, they might like reach out to you and ask for some, like you're building some rapport slowly but surely. I'm not gonna like ask them for something immediately.
L&L or any competing kiln companies. If you really want Ryan's good feedback, he's got a lot of influences, and
They're not listening to this, but okay.
you never know. You never know. Diamond Core gets on my live videos.
Do they?
Yeah,
Have they heard you talk about Diamond Core?
I haven't talked shit about him.
What do you mean directly while they're on there?
Yeah, I should though.
I was say, do you want to retract that statement, Becca?
I'm just saying I haven't
I don't
talked
know that you've
shit.
talked shit directly, but you've mentioned that others can
Purchased
do,
cheaper via
do
Amazon.
close to the job of what you hope to get from that.
Right. I'm just a little bitter. Okay, let's do a review. My phone's about to die. Review. Okay, it's 5 stars from Darth Ned. Oh my God. Is this Nick? Nick, if this is you, you tell me at work. Anyway, May 2nd, 2021. Great podcast. I listen to Wheel Talk while working in my pottery studio. They are so funny and knowledgeable. They recognize that there are more than one way to do things. Some people are stingy with their information or knowledge, but not Becca and Ryan. Keep up the great podcast.
Thank you. Why do you think that's who that is?
Because Nick's real name is Ned.
Oh. Not a lot of Neds out in the world, huh?
Yeah. I told him that he should actually go by Ned because it's a great name.
You said Darth Ned? Is he a Star Wars fan?
Yeah, he is.
That's probably him. I mean, that's like 3 points. That's enough to say it's probably him.
I know.
There's a high certainty that's him. How weird is that, though? He could be listening in the studio while you're like 10 feet away from him.
I know.
It'd be awkward, right?
Hi, Nick. I feel.
Not like weird awkward. It's just like kind of weird, right?
Yeah, kind of. I guess.
Thanks for the feedback. Thanks for the review.
Do we? Oh, let's do that question. That was a fun.
We have a listener question. So this is from e2.pottery. Listen to episode 107 yesterday, and I look back. That is the Motivation as a Maker Take 2 episode. And my mind was blown when Becca said she would wait until 2 weeks before a deadline to start a piece. Can you break down how to get a finished piece in 2 weeks? Specifically something with an attachment and how to dry it quickly while avoiding cracks. So, Becca, when given the lengthy time of 14 days, when you first read this, Becca, what did you say, Becca?
I said 2 weeks. That's a long time. More like 4 days. Okay. Let's talk about this. How long does it take you?
It sounds like a mug.
Yeah, how long does it take you?
If I were to rush it, I could throw it, leave it overnight, finish the bottom, handle it the next day, leave it to set. I'm not really going to bisque fire it for like at least a week. But I mean, I've never turned anything around in 2 weeks. That's just because I'm not in a rush, though.
Yeah, if it was $150 mug and you needed to do it in 10 days, you'd bisque it.
Yeah, I would do it. Yeah, I would probably do that process. So I would throw it, handle it the next day. I would definitely leave plastic over it after the handle to make sure that it dried good. And then I'd take the plastic off. That'd be third day, plastic off, drying. Hopefully I would have a kiln firing or something to have some heat in the air to dry it out quicker. And I'd sit it on top of the kiln, dry it out quicker. Hopefully like a glaze fire so it's really hot. And then put it in a bisque kiln the next day. What's that, day 5 it could be done with a bisque maybe? And out of the bisque. And then glazed and put into another kiln in, I don't know, 7 days maybe. That's pushing it, but I think that would be doable for me. To get it into a kiln, I don't know, is that out of a kiln, fire? Yeah, 7 days, 8 days, like out of a glaze kiln.
Yeah. So let's be clear. When I used to do Leavenworth, the show, every week, I would turn things around in 4 days. And we're not talking like 2 mugs. We're talking 50 mugs.
That was because the show ran Thursday. Is it Thursday to Sunday?
It was Thursday through Sunday, but I was never there Thursday, so Friday through Sunday. I'm going to do this with the perspective of Washington and also the perspective of my clay that did not crack when I put handles on. So this is from my perspective. I feel like people baby the clay a little bit too much. Like when we're at work, we put the handle on and we just set it out. Unless the mug is too dry, then you got to cover it. But like, I have never, rarely ever, unless I'm having issues with my clay, have I covered a mug after putting a handle on. Um,
It
so
depends on your attachment, though, right? Does it sort of depend on the attachment a little bit?
I'm sure it does, yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit. Um, so if I was gonna make a mug or gonna make 30 mugs, I'd throw them the night before. So I'm gonna do it probably at like 8 or 9.
So
I'd
were you
let them,
throwing those on Sunday?
yeah,
Sunday night? Oh shit. No days
yeah,
off.
no days
Becca's
off.
not taking Mondays off. Oh, I'm
I
back from my show. I'm gonna take Monday off.
I yeah, I would come back home Sunday night. I'd throw about 100 mugs, and then
Gosh.
I would come back the next day. I'd handle them. I'd trim. I wouldn't trim them. I would just finish off the bottom, roll and dent the bottom, and then I'd handle all of those on Tuesday morning, and then leave them out to dry on
So you were
Tuesday.
just doing the bottom finishing on that was your whole day of Monday? Of
Well, I
like a
mean, yeah,
hundred
I'd do
mugs?
other stuff too. I'd probably make bowls and shit.
Okay.
But then
And you're
I
not
would
covering those in plastic Monday before you handle them?
I'd cover them loosely in plastic.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, and then I would handle them the next day, let them dry. Tuesday night they go into the bisque with a 3-hour hold.
Oh my gosh.
Wednesday afternoon they go out of the bisque, or Wednesday evening out of the bisque. Glaze them right when they're pulled out. Put them right back into the kiln Wednesday at 4 a.m. and then pull them out on Friday at 4 a.m. and then drive to Leavenworth.
That's great.
So I was telling him that this was really a perfect question because I just did this stupid fucking show and I found out 3 weeks ago that I was gonna do it, or a month ago or whatever. And so I literally got clay like 10 days later because it was late. And I made like 300 pieces in like a week and a half. And every morning I would go in before work and I would make the stuff that I needed to make and then come back at the end of the day, cut them off the bats, roll them out, leave them to dry a little bit, load it in the kiln, biscuit, and then do the exact same fucking thing as what I used to do. So,
What do you think before what do you think drove you to work that aggressive of a schedule? Back in the day, you had 4 days. Like you had to get something because you wouldn't have product to sell. What
yeah.
like I guess one, what drove you to like do the show with that deadline and say like I can do it and make it work? And also like you're not I don't know. I mean you is it ultimately like you got to do what you got to do and like you got to sacrifice your get up earlier to go in there for an hour and a half, do what you got to do on your personal stuff before you have to go to work and do all of your regular day work.
Yeah. Dude, I'll tell you what, when I was doing that, this last time, I remember texting Rebecca and being like, what the fuck? like, I was like, how the fuck did we used to do this? And she texted me back, she's like, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. Like, and she still does it. She's still like this morning, she went to sleep at like 5 a.m. and she was working on shit. Um, but yeah, I don't have the stamina that I used to. And I don't think that even had stamina. I think that it was just survival mode. I think I was in
Hmm.
survival mode for like 3 years. But as far as a human that is normal, I feel like we should answer this question as a normal human, not me, a psychotic human.
Because some of those rules of like, uh, you know, I feel like it's a general rule or good practice to cover your mug, right? Once the handle's attached for a day. Is
I've
that a
never
good?
done it. I never even heard of it until like well into doing
Okay.
pottery. But yes, I think it is a general rule.
Yeah.
And also in like this this climate where it's a little dry or it's a little cold, you know, like our fucking landlord at my personal studio, he's amazing. Um, he turned the heat on midway through me trying to like get all these cups done, and it just fucked my whole schedule up.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything was drying like perfectly, like slowly, perfectly, and then the heat came on and everything was just like bye.
Because you can't just leave stuff uncovered.
Right. Like so you do have to like kind of take that into account. Um but
And then the whole like, I don't know if it's a rule, but like some people say you gotta like let stuff sit for a few hours after it's glazed before you put it in a kiln or
yeah, to compensate that, I always do a preheat for an hour at the
on the
beginning of
glazed
my kilns.
kiln.
And
Yeah.
I usually crack the lid so that it vents out some of the moisture. Um,
Is that just because there's extra water particles and stuff that are
yeah.
in the glazes?
Yeah, so what can happen is if it doesn't dry and then it gets hot too fast, the glaze can flake off and that's what causes crazing.
Yeah.
And so, or it
Crazing, you
can
mean like,
cause crazing.
or
Not crazing.
like crawling and stuff?
Crawling,
Or
sorry,
the.
crawling. Yeah, so it can cause crawling because it doesn't attach to the actual mug, like the moisture pops it off.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like that happens when you put like a glaze on too thick and you know, you see like the little lines
Mm-hmm.
all the way around the rim because your rims are thinner than your bases of your cups. So your cups,
Mm-hmm.
the base of your cup is going to suck in a lot more moisture than the rim is. And so if you overload that with glaze, then it doesn't have anywhere for that
Yeah,
moisture to
that's
go.
that's where I see the most crawling,
So it
especially with that
pops.
like black and white combo. I see some of that
Right.
happen.
Right. So if you want to avoid crawling, really ideally, you should be glazing your first color, letting it sit out for the night, and then doing the second color.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that.
Yeah.
Even
Uh,
just like the simple thing of if you're gonna do two colors on like shot glasses, like
yeah.
do all of that color and then start with the first one to do your next. Like that's
Right.
just simple, like
Yeah.
timing of things to start with the one that's the driest
Yeah.
because it's gonna look
Sometimes
the
I'll
most
just
consistent.
do all of my first colors and then just come back the next day if I'm not in a rush. But for a normal human being, let's say you have an order for 20 pieces. That seems reasonable for putting it in a biscuit kiln. Like, let's say you have okay, maybe 30. You have a full order, right? That you need to get done in 12 days. Okay.
14
So
days.
14 days, whatever. So 12 business days. Um, so you're going to throw your pieces first. Next day, you're going to trim and then you're going to handle those pieces. You can even let those sit with a handle covered over for one day. That's fine. Next day, you're going to take those out and you're going to dry them up, get them dry, and
That's a
then
day 3.
day 3, dry them. Day 4, bisque them with a preheat, pretty significant preheat.
Mm-hmm.
um, and pop the lid so that it's at least venting out most of the moisture till 1,000 degrees. And then
How long are you preheating for? Did you say?
you can, it depends. Like I would probably preheat for 3 to 4 hours.
I'd
If
probably
it's
preheat
real
to like
fucking
6 to
wet,
8 hours just in case. I don't know.
yeah, if it's real
If
fucking
you
wet,
really don't
I'll
want to
do
mess
6.
anything up, then just do a little
Yeah.
longer, like 6 or 8. Yeah.
But also like letting that kiln lid open up a little bit just to let all that moisture out will help a lot. Um,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, that's not professional. And then
So that's day. Which day are you firing the
that
bisque
was day
firing?
4. Day 4 is firing.
Firing. Okay. Day
Day
4.
5, you're unloading.
Okay. It's all the way. It went all the way up with a 6 hour. Six
Well,
hour at the
you're
most.
unloading at
Like that.
night.
Yeah.
And then day 6, you're glazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can put them in day 7 or 8, and then you're done.
Okay. What if that's based on somebody that can do it any time of the day?
Yeah.
Full time? Okay. And if you're doing part time, just
I
add
did it
an
part
extra.
time. Yeah, I did it part
Okay.
time with
I I feel
300
like the
pieces.
glaze. I feel like the glaze firing is a little bit more of a, or sorry, the bisque firing schedule in the glaze firing schedule, depending on when you start it, if you start it in the evening, then it's really going to be 2 days until you can unload it. It's not going to be 1 day.
Yeah.
Because you're
But
not going to be
still, that
unloading it
gives
at
you
like
like
2 a.m. You know.
Yeah. That gives you like 4 days extra to work with it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but
Plus,
yeah,
if you
even
work
if you're
slower, like doing your trimming and you're attaching the handles, like trimming 20 pieces and handling 20 pieces in 1 day can be a lot if you're doing it on the side. But if you just trim all of them 1 day and then you cover them in plastic and handle them all the next day, then that's an extra day there. And
and like if you have a part-time job and you can get in before and then after, that also helps with the timeline a lot. You know, like trimming it in the morning, handling them at night, you know? Like that really helps with that.
I don't know what kind of glazing situation you're doing if you're painting glaze on. Hopefully
If
you'd
you're
be dipping these,
if
but
you're painting glaze on, good fucking luck. Can't help you there. That's a
you gotta
lot.
add,
That's a
you
lot of
gotta
work.
add some for 20 pieces. Ugh.
Ugh. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
don't
that's
know
kind
that
of
I've
like the
ever
fun
had to,
thing.
I don't know that I've ever had to push anything that much. I mean, the most stuff that I've had to push has been like shot glass orders.
Mhm.
That's either trying to meet a wholesale deadline or I have a bunch of wholesale ones going out the door and
Mhm.
I'm short. Like, I need to restock a bunch of colors. So I'm trying to like make some new ones to get them in the pipeline so that I've got, 100 shot glasses made. And
Yeah.
I can fill those up and make a bunch of them easily, but it does take a lot to fill a kiln. So you gotta have other pieces in the mix all the time so that I can fill a kiln and get a lot of shot glasses in there and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm not pushing that too much, but I mean, I don't know, 2 weeks is probably the quickest I've done stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thought that was a good question.
Yeah, that was a great question. It's really all about time management. And
But when you were like getting ready for this show, are you like enjoying getting in the studio early and doing all that stuff to like meet is it fun for you to meet the challenge? Because
yeah.
I know you've said in the past that you're like, I don't love it as much. But there's got to be something motivating you to get in there early and like
No,
meet it.
yeah, it was great. Like honestly, it was great. And I didn't get there super early. I got there like 10 and worked till 12:45, then went to work and then came back at like 8. And worked
But
till
it is
like
an
maybe.
aggressive schedule though.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'd work till like 11 midnight and then I'd go home. Um yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's fun to see progress, you know. It's fun to like it's not fun to trim pinch pots though. That's not fun. Um
Yeah.
uh but yeah, it's a lot of fun to see like all the progress and like what you can do in a short amount of time. You know, it's one thing when you're throwing a bunch of pots, but it's another thing when you like throw 200 pieces and you go back and then you throw 40 of your own, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like it's not like I'm producing at work, but um,
I mean, I'm
you
sure your
know,
process is ramped up and it's way more efficient now that
yeah.
you've thrown thousands of pots with Rebecca
Oh,
for the last 11 months.
I throw my stuff way slower than I throw them at work. Because I want them to look specific to what, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like
You're talking about shitty cups and fancy cups or just the.
shitty cups. I like the process of throwing a wine glass, you know, and the ones that I throw at work have pretty deep waves, and I don't want the ones that I have to have deep waves. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just because I think they look a little bit more elegant, and I care a little bit more than I probably should, but yeah,
About your own work for the
yeah,
shitty
about
cups?
my own.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun though. It's fun to like throw them and see that shape. And like for me, it's all about the shape and all about like the aerodynamics of the cup and stuff like that. You know, it's all
Mm-hmm.
about the design. So I spend maybe 30 seconds more like looking at it and making sure it's right. And also, I'm not trimming them, so I'm making sure the bottoms are cut down where I want them to be so that when I take them off, they look done. You know,
Yeah.
so
I
there's
mean, you
that
have to
too.
be way more conscious of the end to end because you are handling them at every stage of the process. So
right. Yeah. So there's that. And then the pinch pots, for everybody that doesn't know, pinch pots aren't pinched. They're thrown.
That's just what you call them. You call pinch of this, pinch of that.
That's right.
I started making some pinch pots, sort of.
Get it. Yeah, so they're thrown off the hump, and I do it at a bag at a time, and I can get about 75 out of a bag. So, and I just throw the whole square of clay, block of clay on the wheel, center the top out, and just go to town on those. And I can do probably a bag in an hour. And if I was really going for it,
looking at
and I mean, you've been watching me throw pinch pots since 2014. But
yeah, you're still needle tooling it though, right?
Yeah.
Would you ever try to do this string?
No, because no.
I just got a Bill Van Gilder cut off string thing with the little wooden thing attached to it. I saw a Clay Buddies post or something, and somebody called that out. I got one of those because my string is getting pretty short.
Can you send me a picture of it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I haven't done the string thing. It'd probably look better. I have to trim them anyway because for some reason the clay, when it gets too thick, they crack on the bottom. And I've been having a lot of issues with this new clay. I never had as many issues with my old clay for cracking.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out,
I have a little bit of that.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out a little bit, like not compression, but like moving the clay a little bit more in the middle, like making sure there's a bump and then pushing it all the way down, to prevent those from happening. And I trim them almost dry, like dry, like they flake off. And so, yeah, but yeah, they're fun. I also, quick tip. You know how you have your sticky bat?
Yeah, I don't really use it that much anymore, but yeah.
You want to sell it?
It's an 8-inch one, I think, 10-inch one.
Yeah, so I, instead of getting a sticky bat because they're like $30, I bought one of those silicone phone holders that you put in your car that's like super sticky. Works great.
You're using that to trim your little pinch pots?
The pinch pots, yeah.
Nice. Why don't you have a foam bat or something?
If it's too squishy of foam, then it's they chatter, and if they're but
because you're doing it really dry.
Yeah, the thin foam works really good, like the 1/4-inch foam. That's like the sticky paper foam. That works really well, and I do use that quite a bit. But like so much so that there's an indentation for all those cups.
Yeah. I mainly use the ZM Tools foam bat for all of my trimming now.
Yeah.
I finally got a sticky bat anymore.
Foam bat. My foam bats were fucking wrecked. Students
could use a sticky bat, but I just feel like the ZM Tool thing is more flexible with the width of things I use. So
yeah,
if I would have gone back to when I got the sticky bat, I would have got a bigger one. I would have got like a 12-inch bat instead of an 8-inch one. I was trying to save the money. Because they aren't cheap. Typical. I mean, they are like $30 for an 8-inch one, and it's probably like $54 for a 12-inch one or something like that.
Typical Ryan. Yeah,
I already spent a bunch of money with Diamond Core that trip though. So
yeah, I didn't need a whole big bat, or like a big bat, so I got like one of those. You know what I'm talking about, where you like stick it on your car dash and the phone sticks to it because it's sticky. I got one that was like the extra large, and it's I don't know, maybe it's
probably like 6 inches or 7 inches in diameter.
It's like 6 inches wide and 9 inches deep, and cut it into a square and just threw it on the wheel. It's great. It was $5,
Love it.
Yeah, so I didn't need a big one because the pinch pots aren't big. So yeah, it fits right on the metal part, and it's great. Yeah.
Nice. All right, 49 minutes in. What else are we talking about today?
We are talking about this shit show of a show. So, backstory on the show. Uh, backstory on the show. So, I was talking to my friend Sarah, and she does like fine art pottery. Like, she does graffito, and they're like amazing, and they're like $100 a cup. Very much worth it. And she signed up for the show thinking that it was a fine art show, but it's not. And it was an expensive booth fee, and she's like paid for it, and then she realized her mistake, and she tried to get out of it, and they did not let her out. So,
Fuck.
yeah.
Hopefully you'd know what show you were getting into. Ideally before you apply for it, but before you pay for the booth. But
Yeah. But I
Yikes.
understand how one could think that it was a different show, you know. If like they're all at the fairgrounds or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so she was locked into this show, and she was just like, I just need to get my money back. And she was telling me this, and I was like, oh, I can help you. It'll be fine. Like, I'll just bring shitty cups and pinch pots and sell the shit out of them. And then that was before I knew what the show was. And then we were talking about it. I was like, I should be able to make like $3,000, which is great. The booth fee was $1,200, so we split it $600 each. And it was 10 by 10. And then I found out what show it was. So this show was the exact same show that I actually did my very first show at for Christmas shows. And I fucking tanked.
In Washington?
In Washington. I mean, I made my money back. I had a half booth. It was $600. And I spent like all of my money just on the booth. And then I made like $1,200.
At the first show that you did?
At the first show with these shitty ass cups, like the leftover Starbucks cups. It was whatever.
This was probably like 2015 or 2016.
2014.
Like 2014. Okay.
Yeah, 2014. And so I
was it 5 days? Was that old one like that long? It was that long of a show?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wednesday through Sunday.
That's the killer.
Not only is it 5 days, it is 5 days all day. So it's 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Wednesday, Thursday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Friday, Saturday, and 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sunday. So, and it's pretty much always at a big coliseum. They own tons of shows all around America. Like, you've probably seen them. It's like the Christmas hobby gift show. Traditionally, these shows are made for vendors, like the ones that have perfumes and like shit from China. And we saw fucking bathtubs, hot tubs, like.
It sounds like a home and garden show.
It is a home and garden show, but for Christmas. They have a huge Christmas tree, fake snow, Santa Claus, the works, Christmas music in fucking November. And, which, by the way, I'm not a fan of Christmas. So that makes it even better. Anyway, we were like, yeah, it's going to be fine. Being optimistic. I'll make like $3,000. It'll be fine. By the first minute of the show, when I saw the people there, I was like, no hope. Like the first
I feel like you probably would have got a sense when you were looking at the other vendors when you were setting up.
No, it's not even about the vendors. It's
not the vendors, but like seeing what other company you're with, of like what people are coming to buy. Like,
yeah, but
does your stuff fit in with their stuff?
I already knew it was going to be there. Like, there are some handmade stuff, and some of them do really, really well. It depends on what your booth looks like. It depends on how big your booth is. But mostly it depends on your clientele and the people that are at the show. So who is the market for this show?
Mm-hmm.
It is women that dress up for Christmas in November to go to a show in Christmas pajamas, that want to drink alcohol and get drunk and wear ugly sweaters and eat nachos. I want to eat nachos, honestly. But it's not like it's not the type of people that you would expect, right? or not the type of people. It is the type of people you would expect, but it's not the type of people that are going to buy my pottery, or Sarah's pottery for that matter. And so, and it, it's middle class America. We're in a very conservative state, so you're looking at middle class, um, tight budget. They already had to pay $10 to park, $13 to get in. They've already spent $23. Half of the people that are there have those rolling carts that like homeless people have for groceries or like old ladies have for groceries. And or the fancy ones with the cloth around them. I saw one lady who was dragging one of those carts and she had bags hanging off of it. It looked like it was 500 pounds of just junk.
At least that means that they were buying stuff, though.
I know. Like, they're there to buy stuff. They're just not there to buy handmade stuff. Like, they're there to buy the perfume that's 30% off. You know?
Because they're already down. They already need to buy that stuff. Or
yeah.
They come year after year and they get stuff
exactly.
that's on. It sounds kind of like a flea market a little bit, but like.
Oh, it is. It basically is. And like they have clothes there. I didn't even look at most of the vendors, but of course they have the dip guy. They have the balsamic vinegar guy. They got the cabinet lady.
The cabinet lady, the fucking gutter people. They have gutter people there in the bathtub. You said bathtubs.
People. They have the grip ties, like the zip tie, bag ties that are like the instead of using a clip, they have the the garlic grater people. Have you seen the garlic grater people?
Garlic grater? Oh, like where they have like the show stage with the cooking utensils and stuff, and they're like showing off the infomercial kind of stuff. Live
and the
and
garlic
in person.
grater is like the ones that they make in Mexico, and they have like 1 billion of them, and then they sell you the silicone peeler and the brush with it that are like an obnoxious red color. And they like give away $25 every hour to one of the people that comes in for Christmas holiday money. And so that's the show. Okay, that's the show. And it's busy. Like it's not like it's like desolate, On Saturday there's like you can't move through the fucking aisles. It's busy.
But a lot of the vendors, it sounds like a lot of them are handmade small business people. Some of them are bigger companies, but like the salsa person, is that a handmade person that's like makes their own brand of salsa?
They just have like the jerky guy was next to me. Like they just have it's very like store setup, and he's got like 10 flavors. That's all he sells. You know, these are the shows that they go to. Like these shows are the shows that it's like a carnival circuit, but for vendors, you know? Like the grip bag guy. It's like this weird, like for chip bags, you fold it over and then you slide it off, or like slide it onto the bag. And I saw him at the show, or I actually saw his uncle at the show in Tacoma in 2014. Like, we're talking about people that know these fucking shows. Like, they, like the perfume people, I guarantee you they made $40K at this show. Guaranteed.
Yeah, volume is what they're going for here.
Yeah, and I mean they have a 3x10 booth. That's $3,600. You have to be able to make at least 15K to even make that make sense. At least 20K, So, and they only do 9 shows a year, and they've been able to like live off of that. So, that's the kind of people that you're looking at. Like down the way, there was a Disney lady, and she had like all Disney stuff. And it was just insane.
I bet that was like, hopping.
Packed to the ceiling.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And then you have those, and then you have the fine artists that are like sprinkled in between them, and nobody stops at those booths because this is either their first show that they've done of this caliber, and they don't have a big enough booth set up. people have to walk inside. So retail booths at a show like this, typically you don't want to walk inside. You want to like be out on the aisle so that people don't have to work. We had it walk inside. It's pottery, so it was
You
gonna
had
be
walking
knocked off.
inside, plus you had to split booths, so you can't really front load the booth, especially if you have neighbors on each side.
Right. We didn't have a neighbor on one side, so that was helpful. I brought wine glasses, shitty cups, and pinch pots, and that's it. And then Sarah had some mugs, some flasks, a few big things. And then her aunt made some signs, and then she also had ornaments. And thankfully, hers was like the eye grabber. So, like, people would walk by and be like, oh, wow, that's so cool. But it was so fucking funny. Like, the people.
What
The
was fun?
people. So many people came up and were like, what is this? And I go, it's a mug. Like, for drinking? Yes. Yes, for drinking. Or this lady walked up and Sarah had some planters with plants in them. And there was this one cactus succulent plant. It looked like a tree. And this lady walked up and she goes, oh, wow, look at this plant. I have one like this. And then she says, I have one like this and it grew super big, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes, how much for that? And I go, it's $75 because it was the planter with the plant. And she goes, $75? That's outrageous. I would never buy a plant for $75. And I was like, well, you're buying the planter with it. And she goes, oh. And she like, the lady that was with her said something and she's like, you know what? Your attitude is terrible right now. And then she walks away. She walks away and she turns back around. She goes, $75 is outrageous. And then she like started to walk towards me and I was like, this lady is gonna fucking knock this planter off of the shelf. Like,
Oh my gosh.
and like people were offended of the prices. One lady told me, she was telling me how like she bought some pinch pots and then she was telling me how this guy once at a show was selling a mug for $23 and he was justifying the cost from the kiln and everything, and she goes, nobody's gonna buy a mug for $23. And I'm like, my wine glasses are 20. They're $18. Like,
Right.
you're literally telling me, and I was like, actually, that's pretty cheap. $23 for a Stein is pretty
That's
cheap.
really cheap.
Yeah, and
Even
she's like,
for a beginner to be selling, to have enough work to sell at a show
yeah,
and sell it, a mug at $23 is a steal,
a
honestly.
steal. And I was like, that's pretty cheap. And she was telling me like, she's like, no, it's way too expensive, blah, blah, blah. Nobody's gonna pay that kind of money. And I was like, okay, just give me
So
your
what,
money.
did she end up spending $23 worth in pinch pots?
I think she did. I think she spent 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the clientele.
I mean, the clientele sounds like they don't they don't buy handmade. They've never like
They
if they
don't have,
don't know
yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah,
not that like
they're
they're
not
not
buying
going
handmade.
to the show to buy pottery. They're going to this show to buy perfume and stuff like that. And that's totally okay. It's
Are they
fine.
buying gifts? You think mostly the
Yeah.
people that are shopping? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like a girls' outing and stuff like that. And then they bring their husbands along, and their husbands look like they're gonna die. And
Getting a beer in them and walking around and.
yeah, a $10 beer. Uh,
And
yeah. The first if you followed me on Instagram, I did a picture every day that I that I was
those are great.
and every day I was like a little bit more depressed and like sad that I was there. Like I think by the second day I was so tired that I was doing the night shift mostly. So me and Sarah split it up. So she would do 10 to 3 and I would do 3 to 8. And so by like 7 o'clock I was sitting on the floor and like people were walking past and I was like, nobody's gonna come in here anyway. It's fine. Like I could probably sell more cups if I left the booth. And
That's
and
bad.
yeah, and like at that point you're just like, I just want to make my money back so badly. I did, by the way. But for 5 days,
How many hours is that? We didn't even. Okay, so you said 10 to 8.
This is
So
depressing.
That's 10 hours for 2 days worth.
Yeah,
So
11 hours.
So 20 hours Wednesday and Thursday. And then you said 10 to 9?
Yeah, so 11 the next day, so 22, so that's 42, and then 10 to 5, so that's 49.
49 hours of work. Okay. Actually being at the booth. And then I'm sure it took you a couple hours to set up and a couple hours to tear down at least. Right?
It took us 30 minutes to tear down, right?
30 minutes. Okay.
We
you
were
had almost nothing left.
out of there.
Okay.
And it's like pretty easy setup. You can drive your car in.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you say, about 50 hours or so? Okay.
Yeah, 50 hours. And I made $1,100, $1,200. I don't know.
Jeez.
Yeah. Keep in mind, I was literally doing this to help a friend.
Yeah.
Like, I would have never chosen this show. We were hoping like for 3K, but like I said, the minute the
each or together?
I was hoping for 3K by myself, and then she was just hoping to get what she could out of it.
Did she make as much as you made?
Enough. She made about 11, 12.
Okay.
And
that's a big commitment. The days is just the long part. Like most of those places probably have, like, I want to say like employees in quotes, but like they probably have a group that they like do it, right? It's not just one person that's manning.
No, it's usually one person, and it's usually an employee. So like Kevin next to us, the jerky guy, his friend owns the jerky business, and he sells the jerky for him, and it's on a commission basis. So he gets paid to be there, but then he pays for his hotel. All the other stuff is paid for, and he gets a commission off of what he sells.
Okay, so that's an incentive he's getting. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but like the perfume people, Jim and Karen, who are from Louisville actually.
They probably do the show, the flea market show that's in Louisville that's coming up at the end of the year that we go to, and I see those kind of booths because we've gone to those shows before, and I like to get the cheap ass candy because it's like, who doesn't like cheap ass candy?
Right. Well, if you see the perfume people and it's Fragrance by Karen and Jim, tell them that Becca, the
Potter from hell,
the Potter from Indianapolis that would kick her legs in the air says hi. Yeah. We were dancing, and like that is what makes these shows fun, is that they're not fine artists. They're just like people, and they want everybody to succeed except for their direct competition. And so like me and Karen were having a great time. We were dancing, we were telling stories, we were laughing.
I mean, you can make friends with anybody, so
that's true. Kevin, our neighbor, was great. He had a Christmas sweater. Yeah, it was just an all around complete flop of a show. And by the end, by the last day, or maybe it was the day previous, I was so tired that I started falling asleep in the chair. And Jim,
oh my gosh.
And Jim was looking at me and just laughing, and I had to go get popcorn just to stay awake. Just like do something, you know? Yeah.
Could you like bring lunch in and stuff?
Yeah. You can bring like food and stuff. And,
okay, that's good.
Yeah.
At least you didn't have to eat their like concession food, and that's like not allowed to bring anything else in.
Yeah, no. Should have brought alcohol. We considered it, but yeah. Kevin's a bourbon guy, so I was gonna bring some bourbon for him, but then I was too late. But
sipping out of a shitty cup. Good thing you didn't make a bunch of fancy cups for this.
I would never.
No, you would. They would have probably like. They would have, I don't know what words you would have got about your fancy cups.
People like definitely appreciated things. They just saw the price and were like, no.
Okay. Were
You know?
most of them weren't that rude as that lady, right?
No. Like the majority of the people were super pleasant. But there was definitely like a certain crowd too that was like, wow, that's too much money. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not afraid to tell you. But yeah, it was like honestly, it was fun. Like I got to meet Karen and Jim and Kevin, and there was like 4 vendors in our row that were bald. So that was fun. But yeah, I will never do another show like that again. I was said I would never do another show like that after the last time I did a show. I actually did better at my first show in 2014 with like shitty ass pottery than I did at this one. Oh,
Did
go
you
on.
say you paid $1,200 for that first booth that you did?
No, I did 600. It was a
It
5
was
by 10.
okay, so it was smaller.
Yeah.
Wow, 5 by 10, that's pretty small.
Yeah. So this is interesting. Oh shit. I know her real name and I forgot her. So.
Oh yeah, you gotta bring up that story. Competition.
Yeah,
You gotta
so
look her
funny.
up.
Yeah.
You gotta
Mountain
give her a shout
Breeze.
out. You know she's listening.
Yeah, her name's Sarah Holmes, and it's Mountain Breeze Pottery.
Ooh,
Okay,
I'm gonna
Mountain
look this
Breeze
up.
Pottery. She
Mountain
lives in the
Breeze.
Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina. Great stuff, texture and stuff. So anyway, I'm sitting in the booth, and this lady comes up and she starts looking at stuff, and I kind of like knew that she was a potter, and I I was like, "Hi, how are you?" And then we started talking, and she's like, "Oh, you have the wine glasses. I'm over on the other side, and I have wine glasses too." And I was like, "Oh, that's great." And she goes, "Yeah, um, people keep telling me that there's another person doing wine glasses." And I was like, "Oh, yep, that's me." And we started talking, and then she was telling me about like how she was mixing her glazes and how there's a talc issue, and I was just ready to be like, oh, um we actually have a podcast, and Link was on the podcast, and she talks about that talc issue actually. And I went and I said, oh, hey, there's my card, and I was just about to tell her about the podcast, and then she picks up my card and she goes, well, which is a sticker, by the way, and it has my face on it. The
This is
same face
great.
that's on our business, our like podcast thing. And she goes, Five Lines Pottery? Is that you? And I was like, yes. And she goes, Wheel Talk Podcast? Are you with Ryan? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. She goes, oh my God, I've listened to you guys for such a long time. I didn't
But you
recognize your
didn't realize you were
voice.
talking to the same person that you
Yeah,
listened
and
to.
she's like, I didn't recognize your voice. You sound so different on the podcast. And I was like, oh yeah, customer service voice, And and she's like, that's crazy. I've been listening to you guys forever. Wow, that's so cool. And and then and then she goes, oh my God, the shitty cups. And I was like, yeah, these are my shitty cups. And she's like, I have shitty cups. I took your idea and I'm selling shitty cups because I did a show like last week and I did really, really well and I didn't have enough product, so I just made a bunch of shitty cups. And now I'm selling them in my booth. And I was like, here I am breeding my own competition.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm so glad they had a great show. It sounds like they had a really good show. And I don't know why we had a shitty show and they had a bigger booth than us. Like they had a 10 by 15 and they were also selling candles. So candles and pottery.
Candles.
And the booth setup was great, Sarah. It was great. And but it was just so fucking funny. Like I was like
You called me in the middle of the day and I'm like, what is she calling me for?
And I told him that story. Yeah, I just thought I was like, I'm breeding my own competition. Like, that's the first time this has happened. And she was like, you should talk about this on the podcast because, and
they're
what's funny is that
cornering you, Becca. They're gonna start coming for us. They know where we're at. They're coming to our shows. We need to hold it closer to the vest.
What's funny is that I was talking to Val and I told her the same story and she started laughing and she was like, that's so funny because she's making some vase, like a pitcher. And she goes, this lady is selling this pitcher class online for like $30. And, you know, she pays for the class and then she's making this picture and she's like, and the picture comes out exactly like hers. And she's like, and I feel bad. I feel bad that like I made this picture and obviously it's not exactly the same, but it's similar, the same design. And this lady is just like giving out this information and like, how do you not plagiarize or like copy it exactly? But like also she's giving the information and you're paying for it. So like you kind of have the right to do that. And like she expects you to do that anyway. And I was like, you can't feel bad. Like she literally like it's like us. We are giving away all of this information. Like there's
I don't feel bad. I fucking love it.
Yeah,
I mean, I think you love it too. Like we know.
I do too. Like I don't feel bad at all. I think it's fucking great. I think it's hilarious. And like, it's
I think
awesome.
just to be a fly on the wall to see that moment when it just hits her that you're 5 Lines Pottery and she lists all these connections that are just coming at once.
You know what?
Oh my god.
You know what like was in my mind? I was like, oh fuck. Like, look at me, this podcaster who's like doing absolute shit at this thing. Like my cups, like my shitty cups are way too nice to even be here. And they're like too nice, but like lower price, but they're still too expensive. And they're like, and they're just like not even selling at all. And then like my bread competition, like, the person that listens to our podcast is doing fucking great. And I'm like, this is such a great example for me to like be bombing this show and meeting somebody that like actually looks up to me in a sense, or like listens to the podcast and like takes our advice. And I'm like an like a superb example of what you should not do at all. Like like I hope that if I ever meet anybody else at a show, they're doing so much better than me. I'm like
you like care so much for their like, how is your show going? I hope it's going really well for you because I would just want the best for you. Like, I can take this hit today. I can get through this show. But for your sake, like, I want you to have a great show.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I mean, I want everybody to have a good show. But I think it's funny that I'm just like shitty at shows. I've always been shitty at shows. It's just my nature.
The thing is, you said like you wouldn't have chosen that show.
I wouldn't have chosen the show. And I still haven't been to like a good fine art show in this region and sold. So it should be interesting to actually do one of those. But yeah, it's just so you know what is even better? Like the icing on the top of the cake for this show is that I was trying to find fucking bags, right? Like I had leftover craft brown bags. I probably had like 30 of them. And I was like, I need some more bags because, like, what if it does go well? And I'm like,
you need more than 30. Definitely more than 30.
And I was talking to Rebecca on the phone and she's like, oh, yeah, there should be some black bags over by these. And then I'm like, went over to the bags and I look and I'm like, what are these craft bags with this sticker on them? And she's like, oh, my friend gave me those bags when her business went out of business. Like, and it's got her logo on the outside and it's like this big ass blue sticker that says like something leather crafts. And I was like, can I have these?
You know what? Honestly, you probably would have been better for the crowd and the like what people are selling. It just takes some like Kroger bags or some
I
black
know.
plastic bags.
I know. I was like, can I have these bags? So all of the bags that we gave to people had some leathercraft business, like name that went out of business in like 2016.
Oh my gosh. I mean, aren't you glad you didn't go out and buy bags, right?
I did go out and buy bags, but I'll sell them. I'll use them eventually.
Oh my gosh. Great.
uh,
Gosh. Are you looking at shows for next year or I mean it's still a little early, but not really too early, but
no.
like would you do that Berea show that I did?
Hell yeah.
Are you going to sign
Yeah,
up for it?
I don't know. How much was it?
I don't think it was that bad.
No, you know what? I won't do that show because I know the Shitty Cup Lady is going to be there and I want her to do great.
Okay.
Um,
It wasn't too bad, I don't think. It was what, a 3-day show? Trying to look at my
I mean, since I did steal her idea, even though she didn't know.
It was $150 for that booth.
Oh yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's what makes you think with like shows like that in those centers, like it's not cheap for them to rent those spaces, those as the person hosting the show. Like imagine how much it
Yeah.
costs them to rent the space for a week basically.
Yeah. Well, and also what I forgot to say is that like these are the type of shows that are curtain and railing. So like they have dividers between every single booth and it's got like green and red curtains and then green and red curtains on the back. They have a sign that has your name on it. They
Oh, I was
put
thinking like a
down
black curtain show, so it was green and red for the holidays.
green and red
Okay.
for the holidays and then they put red carpet down between all the booths. Like, you have to have a floor covering. We did not. And, like, Sarah was carving pieces in our booth, and so there was clay all over the floor. Sarah is also what made this even better is that it's Sarah Anderson Ceramics, and she's amazing. She is like a 25-year-old version of me. Literally.
What do you mean by
Literally.
that?
Like, she comes in a hot fucking mess. And like all the things that I did when I was 25 at shows, she did. And I was like, it's me. This is me.
You mean like interacting with customers and stuff like that, or like setting up your booth, or
just setting up the booth and stuff like that, and like forgetting things, and like, you know, she's a little bit more organized than I was, but barely. And but it was just a joy. It was just a joy to like do this and like know exactly how she was gonna like go like about things. And I share a studio with her too, so I already kind of like know what how she is. But she's so funny. She's like, oh, I don't even wrap my pieces. I just fucking put it in the bag and give it to him. And I'm like, I fucking love you. I like.
Oh my gosh.
It's great. It was just so much fun to just like see her and then, you know, tearing down the booth. I was like, no, Sarah, we got to do it this way. Like, trust me, we're going to be out of here in 30 minutes. But it was just a
Wow.
fucking blast. It was a blast and a fucking nightmare all at the same time. At one point, I texted Sarah. She was going to come and relieve me at like 2 or 3. And I was like, hey, you know, like when you first meet somebody and you're like really stoked to see them all the time and you're like super excited and then like the next time you see them you have like butterflies in your stomach because you're so excited to see them. That's how I feel about seeing you in 30 minutes so that I can go home.
I think you texted me that, or you said
I put
that
it
on
on
Instagram or
Instagram.
something. Oh
Somebody
my
already
God.
told me they were gonna steal it. I was like, awesome.
Oh my gosh, that is great.
If you ever want to have a great time at a show, just come be my neighbor.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And then like, fucking Karen from across the way. She was a hoot and a holler. And, like, oh my gosh. There was drama. Like, there was, like, classic vendor drama that happened. And I won't relay that story, but it was hilarious. And, you know, it was also funny because, like, 2 booths down, Andrew was from Brooklyn. Kevin was from Ohio. Karen was from Louisville. And then I can't remember where the other people were from. But, like, you know, like, you get to start talking to all the other vendors, and, like, then they start talking about politics and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, I'm gonna shut my fucking mouth. Like, I'm not talking to anybody. like
Yeah.
like I don't usually talk politics anyway, but I'm just like, yeah. Walk away.
I'm out of here. Yeah. But nod your head. All right.
Nod your head and walk away. Because there's just so much fucking time to kill. You're just like shooting the shit, you know?
Yeah.
Should have brought some cards so I could play solitaire or something.
That's
I was
funny.
gonna listen to an audiobook, but I forgot my headphones every single time.
Oh man. Not like those headphones that you're wearing, right? Like your AirPods.
Like my AirPods. Oh, also the guy next to me, I can't remember his name, but on the left, he like worked for a window company, and every time he just had his fucking booth, and it was just like, you know, win $10,000 to redo your house, and then he sat in like a director's chair, folding, you know, chair like yours. And every time somebody would walk by, he'd be like, hey, do you need new windows? and he was like this kind of like shy guy, but he was like, you want to give a Christmas gift to your house?
That's great.
Oh my god.
I feel bad for those people that do the gutter guards and the window in the bathtub inserts. It's like, how much business are they getting? But also, like, they're employees of the company, so like,
right, they must be getting something because they keep going to these shows and they're paying $1,200 for a booth.
I mean, my dad works for outdoor lighting, and they've done those home and garden shows for years. Those booths aren't cheap. Like, they're going out there, they got to be out there all weekend, kind of like the length of your show.
Well, the home and garden show is owned by the same company.
Yeah, I'm not
like
surprised.
It's like a monopoly.
So, yeah, those are all similar. I mean, they got the wooden outdoor furniture, they got the lighting, they got the gutters, they got the bathtubs, they got the irrigation, you know, all that kind of shit. Yeah.
Hot tubs.
I mean, those at least have a little bit of something else that I'm trying to remember the last time I went, but I mean, some of them might have some stuff they're selling that's not like home improvement kind of stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, there was a guy that was down the way. He was selling these heaters. He was selling for $400, and he was giving people IOUs essentially. Like he sold out completely, like by the second day.
Jeez.
I'm seeing these people walk by with these $400 heaters. Like, damn.
And they're gawking at you about a $75 piece.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Heater's more practical, I guess, and they're like, hey, I can, like, this is gonna be in my workshop or whatever. And
I have another funny story. So there was this one lady. Okay, there was a sign that I put behind was put behind 2 really expensive pieces that Sarah had. Okay, so they were $225. A teapot set that had the teacup that sat on the lid of the teapot, and then a vase. And they're carved beautiful. The sign behind it says, like, I gave up men, liquor, and shopping. It was the worst 15 minutes of my life. That's what the sign says, right? And everybody's like trying to see the sign. They'd have to like look on one side of the vase and then go to the other side and look on the other side of the vase.
What's the sign there for? Like, what's the point?
Oh, Sarah's aunt made some fun Christmas signs to try and fill up the booth.
Oh, okay.
And So this one lady walks up and I'm sitting there. Keep in mind, $225 vase in front and a $225 teapot in front. And this lady is like, "Oh my God, that's so funny." And she pulls out the sign over the vase, over the teapot, and puts it up and props it up on the shelf, and she goes, "I don't want to buy this. I just need to take a picture for my friend." And she takes a picture. She looks at me. She goes, "Oh my God, they're going to love this. This is so funny." And then she puts it back. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster.
I thought you were saying she was gonna like move it to be like, oh, this is funny. Like you need to be able to, people need to be able to see this better or
No,
something.
she took it purely to
Okay.
take a picture of it.
Yeah. All right. And then, so she got it back safely?
She did, barely. Barely.
Did she even like look at the pieces or anything, or
No,
like?
absolutely not. No.
Man, it's funny how they just look right through stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, if it's
Around.
not what they're looking for, around
Yeah.
through. The only show, I mean, the only show that I've done in a like an expo center like that was the Cincinnati Coffee Festival.
I remember that, yeah.
But that actually like turned out pretty good. I would say it exceeded
Yeah.
my expectations, but like that's a market for what we make.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
sold so many mugs there and it was great.
I think that if I had had mugs, I would have done really well, honestly.
Yeah.
People are looking for mugs. I just don't want to make mugs and I don't want to sell mugs, so.
Mhm. So that was good. I don't think it was $1,200. I did split a booth with somebody, but I think it was more like the whole booth was like 700 or 800, and then we
Yeah.
split it. So I think I spent 400 for it.
Yeah.
But I think it was 4 days maybe or 3 days.
Mm-hmm. I
And
remember when you did
people
that.
paid admission and stuff. But it was cool though, because I mean, people were walking around there drinking coffee, drinking tea. I made
Yeah.
friends with the tea vendors. There's not many of them, so got
Yeah.
some good tea there. And I actually was friends with some of the coffee vendors because they're different coffee shops that are local. I
Yeah.
knew like at least two or three of them, and like, you know, I was thinking about going this year, but the dates were a little bit off. They were in October, so they were right around when we were moving. So it was good that I didn't sign up for it, but I was thinking about it. I might do it again in the future. I think it's a fun event, and it's like it's right up my alley. Like if I like making mugs, if you like making mugs, like that's a good option. So
Yeah, for sure.
I did pretty well there. I think that's funny. I think that show was actually back when we first started the podcast. I think we talked about the show in like episode 10 or 8 or something.
Oh,
When we
wow.
talked about improving your art show sales, I think that might have been
Oh, yeah, because,
we talked about like the giveaway sign and like
yeah.
making sure what you can say to people, and
Yeah.
that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. Wow.
So yeah, that
We've
was good.
grown so much and learned so little.
Oh man. Well, I've always kind of avoided some of those kind of shows. I just don't like fit with the vibe of that kind of stuff.
No.
I mean, even some of the fine art ones, I'm like, eh. But then I'm also kind of like, if I go to like an indie market, I don't really fit with that vibe either because my stuff is too like. Some people might say it's like traditional pottery because it's like production wear. But I mean, I wouldn't really call my stuff traditional, but I mean, I guess it kind of is if it's not like
If you had wood
trendy.
shelves, it'd look indie.
I do have wood shelves though.
I know. Oh,
But
I also borrowed Rebecca's setup, like her shelving, because I didn't want to pay for shelving, which
yeah,
was nice.
get all that stuff transport okay? Like you fit it in the car
It was
cars
so
or
much. It was so much less space than any other setup that I've ever done, honestly,
yeah.
for the amount of shelves. I did it because I wanted to see how I wanted to see how I wanted to do my setup when I eventually do it, and I don't want those shelves.
Those are pretty
I like
short
them.
shelves though, right?
They're about 36 inches, and they turn
At the
out pretty.
tallest. Like
Yeah,
they
they
weren't
turn
sitting
out.
on top of tables or anything.
Yeah, it turns out actually a pretty good height, but I don't know. There's something about the shitty cups that needs to be like one at a time.
How did
'Cause
you have them on there? Did you just scatter them on the individual
I did
shelves?
like rows of 3.
Okay.
So I think it would just look better and like more
Yeah.
if it was like kind of like your mug wall, but
Yeah. Were your pinch pots in a basket or something, or in
no, I
something for people to pick
piled them
through?
up
Or
on the top of the shelf.
okay.
They would have done better in a basket, I think.
I don't know what it is about a basket. Like the spoon rests in the little basket, people can like flip through them like they're flipping through like records
Yep.
or something.
Yeah, they're great in baskets. What was I gonna say? I did have one wonderful customer that was so lovely. She she was like the perfect customer. She like came in and we were talking actually we're bonding over like Lyme's disease and stuff like that because Sarah actually has Lyme's disease um and so I was like, oh well, the other vendor that I'm with like has it and her daughter had it, and so we were talking about that, and then I was like, she goes, you know what? I really want these cups for our lake house, and so she like gets all of her girlfriends over. It was like her daughter and maybe her niece and then her friend, and she's like, everybody pick out a wine glass. She's like,
That's great.
pick out a wine glass. We're gonna get cups for the lake house. And I found out that their lake house hadn't even been renovated yet, and they were getting a new boat. And she was like in her 60s, and she goes, yeah, we're getting a brand new boat. Like, I've never had anything new in my life. And I was like, yeah, get it. Like, you deserve it. Like, spend the money you worked hard to get, you know? And we
Right.
had like great, and she spent like $130 on pots.
Sweet.
Yeah. So that was great.
Hmm.
Um, I
I
think
love those random
ice.
customers that like
Yeah.
you never expect. They don't know you. They just stumble upon you. Because I had one of those at a West Side Market last year. This year comes up and she got mugs for her lake house.
Yeah.
She got like 6 or 8, and they were like random mugs. She was just picking them off the
Yeah.
wire shelf, and she's like, "I want these, and I'm gonna sit these back here." And then like she paid for them, and I was like wrapping them. She'll be like, "I'll come back around and I'll get them when I'm done walking." And looking forward to getting them and putting them in the lake house and all that stuff. So
Yeah, I
those are
think
fun.
that's great. I mean, and I was like, yeah, well, they don't tip over in grass. And she's like, that's perfect. Um, but yeah, that was fun. And it is so much easier to sell like other people's work. Like it was so easy to be like, aren't her mugs amazing? Like she's such an amazing artist. Like look at these ornaments, blah blah blah, you know, but it's hard to sell your own stuff like that. And so
Hmm.
and like I know it was the same for her the other way around. Like she can throw this super fast, like she can do this and this and this, you know. It's just easy to talk about somebody else when you're sharing a booth.
Hmm.
That was nice.
Yeah. I think we were kind of, when I shared my booth, we were a little bit, I think we were both there at the same time.
Yeah.
But if somebody engaged with my stuff, I'd chat with them. Somebody engaged with their stuff, she'd chat with them.
Yeah. We definitely did give up though. Like once both of us hit the market, the mark of breaking even, we were like, cool. You need that? Go away. Like over it.
So consensus from the two of you after the show, signing up for next year?
Oh, everybody kept on asking us, like, they're like, so are you gonna sign up next year? Fuck no. Like, it was so funny. Like, people kept asking me, like, they're like, how are you doing? And I was like, we're just trying to break even.
Were those people that were fucking killing it that were asking that?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, you should have thrown the whole like living the dream one nightmare at a time.
Living the dream, one nightmare at a time. Yeah. Oh God, so funny. Ugh.
Whew. And I don't think there's anything you could have done like sales wise that like you could have sold your stuff better. I mean, minusculely, but like if the
I think
people aren't coming through the door,
the setup could have been a little bit better. Like if we had it as an L outways, because we were on a corner. If we'd had it like on the corner,
ooh yeah.
and then been behind the shelf and like used it kind of like as a passover. I think that like passing over the shelf They pick it out and then we take it and package it. I think that would have been a better setup, but minutely better. And the amount of crowds with how expensive her stuff is, it would have scared the shit out of me. So it was safe. It was safe to have one that people had to walk into.
Yeah. I mean, you could have had your stuff in the vulnerable areas.
Yeah.
But those shelves were kind of shorter too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we'll never know because we're not ever going to do it again.
Yeah. Definitely write the name of that show down so you don't. Well, mostly for her, but don't mix up the show. I did one other show kind of like that, but it was actually like an art show.
Mm-hmm.
It was in LaGrange, and it was a black curtain show. So like, it was a 10 by 10, but the curtains went like up. So it wasn't just like a low curtain. It was like an 8-foot curtain on 3 sides of your booth. So people walk by and they have 10 feet of space to see your stuff, and that's it.
That's it. Wow.
And it was not a great show. I mean, it was probably like a $200 booth fee or $150 booth fee for the weekend and 2 days. I mean, I probably sold, I don't know, $600 or $800 maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just so tight of a window that you have to get engagement with them.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not a big fan of those curtain shows. It's less open. Like, you have no connection with your neighbors. And then it's like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem natural to have the curtains like that. It's weird.
I came in. I also in my glory. We had a few signs that like were nice looking, but then I put signs by all my other shit. And
Did you have the word shitty out there? Did it say shitty cups with your acronym?
No, I chose not to say shitty on this one.
Okay.
I'm not finalized on what I want to do yet.
If you want to brand it that way, because the audience might not understand if they say they're shitty cups.
Yeah. Anyway, so and I said shitty cups to a few people and they looked offended. But I have these like brown cards, right? They're like brown envelopes, and I folded them in half and wrote down the price. So I was like 18 each or 2 for 30. And then on one of the cards I said cheap gifts that look expensive. And I said cheap gifts that look expensive, but not like this sign. It's cheap. and and then on the one that was between me and Kevin, I came to like, take over the show for Sarah, and I like get there and they're like, "Oh, Kevin comes up and he goes, "I think your price for your mugs are a little too high." What they ended up doing was they put a 0 after the 8 and a 0 after the 0 and 30. And so it said wine cups $180, 2 for $300.
Oh my gosh.
Like, damn, that's an expensive cup. And they like put it there and waited for people to even notice, and only one person noticed.
Whew.
So funny.
Wow.
Anyway, that was that show. I hope you all had great laughs at my expense.
That was great. Just for the story about your competition, what was her name? Sarah?
Sarah.
Is her name Sarah? Oh,
Mountain
Sarah.
Breeze Pottery. Breeze is in BREEZE.
Yeah, I looked her
Easy
up.
breezy beautiful cover girl.
Yeah, I was looking to see if she had any photos of her booth, but she doesn't post that much, so I didn't see anything recent.
Yeah.
But thanks for listening, Sarah. Thanks for taking advice and getting out there.
Yeah.
I think we'll have more experiences like that down the road.
God, I hope so.
I love those.
Classic. I've never had one that was like that wild. you know,
I
like
haven't
maybe a
had somebody
while.
that's actually selling at the show that didn't know who I was and did that, but I've had like customers
Yeah.
that are also potters that have said like, "Oh, I listen to Wheel Talk," which is
Yeah.
always really cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Wow. All right.
I do feel a little proud that I'm like successfully secretly famous. Like nobody knows who I am. They just know of me.
Yeah.
Feel a little proud about that. I don't look like the sticker anymore, you know. My
But you
hair.
would think they would recognize your voice.
You would think. Like I said, customer service voice.
You were putting it on. Did you know you didn't know she was a vendor at that time? Or do y'all have
No,
like name
I knew
tags?
she was a vendor. Yeah, I knew she was a vendor right away. Because she had a little name tag thingy. Um, but yeah. Oh man. Oh
Yeah,
man.
you'll probably do some shows next year, right? Thinking about it? A
I think
few?
so. Yeah, I'll do a few. Nick never texted me back to tell me if he was Darth Ned or not. I'm sure he is.
You should
Uh,
just call him Darth Ned tomorrow and see if he
I will. He'll text me back in the morning.
or call him Ned. Does anybody call him Ned?
I told him I was going to start calling him Ned, but I never did.
Hmm.
Oh, did I say on the podcast that Lloyd is catching a mouse at the studio right now?
I don't know if you said that. I think you might have. Yeah,
I
you
picked
said
up,
you did at the beginning. Yeah, you
yeah,
said that you took him to the studio for that reason.
yeah. I just left him there, and this is the funniest part. So Krista Bermeo, um, she is in love with cats, like so much. And so whenever a cat comes, she's like, "Oh my God, you're so cute!" Blah 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 blah. And Lloyd's there. Lloyd did not take to the studio actually very well. He is usually adaptable, like immediately. Actually, ironically, Babs is like when she goes there, she's like, "Pet me, pet me, pet me. I love this." And Lloyd was like super scared and like did like hid in Krista's studio. And she's like, "You're gonna leave him here tonight? Doesn't he need a companion?" And I was like, "Krista, he's a cat. He'll be fine." And she's like, "Yeah, but he's
Was
gonna
she
be."
volunteering to stay there overnight and sleep
I
on the
don't know.
couch?
She's like, "He's gonna be all alone." Like, this is a woman that feels bad when she leaves and Babs is in the office by herself, but everybody else is still at the studio. And she's like, "He's all alone." I was like, "He has a companion, the mouse he's about to kill. That's his companion."
He's on the hunt.
He's on the hunt. He doesn't know it, but he is.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny how we think like that because it's like, does this cat need a companion? But do they need another sibling in the house? Because they're by themselves and they're gonna be gone. We're gonna be gone all day. But like,
Yeah.
some of them don't give a shit.
Lloyd definitely needs a sibling, for sure. He'll be fine for one night, but he definitely needs another thing, for sure.
Yeah.
It's Bab's worst nightmare, but it's Lloyd's, like, best dream. Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay, we should go. Now we're just
All
rambling.
right. Yeah. Thanks everybody for listening. If you see us at a show, come say hi. Let us know
Yeah.
you listen. We appreciate it. I need to keep some like. By the way, I still have some Wheel Talk stickers.
Me too.
I think I'm gonna bring some to ClayCon West. I don't have too many. I stopped putting them in my orders because I figure people that are ordering shot glasses from me probably don't give a shit about the podcast
Yeah.
and probably aren't potters. So I'm holding on to the ones that I have left, and I've got about 20 maybe more than that.
Nice.
But we'll be giving these out. Maybe I'll put a few in my money box just in case somebody sees me at a show and says, "Hey, I'll give them a sticker." So
Yeah.
If you listen to the podcast, say hey,
I
and I'll
have
give
a
you a
few
sticker.
stickers as well left. So, yeppity yeppers.
Are you gonna make some stuff for the ClayCon West? You probably gotta make some stuff to make sure you have
Dude,
a few
I'm bringing
things to
shitty
sell.
cups.
Nice. I'm still thinking about what I want to do. I think I'm just gonna bring a bunch of mugs and maybe some. I don't know if I want to bring like oil bottles. I feel like that might be something different that not everybody has.
I'll have to ship my box.
Yeah, I'll probably do the same. Probably do a bunch of like regular mugs though. I don't know that I want Sgraffito ones because I don't. I mean, they might sell. I might bring a few. But
yeah, I'm gonna take shitty cups and pinch pots. I'll probably take a few fancy pots, but
yeah, you sold everything last year, didn't you? Or 2 years ago?
I told them I had to. I was like, remember in my presentation, I was like, I don't know what's left over there, but I need all that shit gone. So you gotta buy it all.
I mean, and whatever's there, like we're probably gonna be on the low end of the price range of what people are.
I for sure will be. If I don't leave ClayCon West with at least 3 enemies for my pricing, I'm gonna be upset. If I don't leave there without at least 10 people saying, what the fuck are you charging $18 for a wine glass for? I'm going to be upset.
Why don't you add an extra couple bucks just for the sake that you had to ship it out there? I don't know.
No.
All right,
I want
stick
the
to your
experience,
guns.
Ryan.
You
It's
don't want
about
to
the
make a little
principle
extra
now.
money?
About the principle.
Okay.
$15 cups, $100 cups. Nothing in the middle.
15 and 100. Yeah.
I did my prices as 18 or 2 for 30, and I honestly still just want to go down to 15. They're $15 a pop.
Yeah.
No deal. Just
I mean, that's easy. Even with like tax and stuff, they're under $20. So
yeah. $15, no deal, just that's it. That's fucking it.
yeah.
That is the deal. The deal is it's 15.
Yeah. 15, 18. Yeah. Most of my stuff, I'll probably bring a bunch of mugs that are like 32.
Yeah.
Most of my like bellied mugs are 32. So I'll just price probably all of my production mugs at 32 and just bring a variety of different glaze colors. I'm not going to bring like 4 glaze colors and like 6 of each. I'm just going to bring 30 mugs, maybe something like that. And I've never packed up that many mugs actually. I'm guessing I'll probably. Did you like corrugated cardboard those when you were packing up that many
I
like
did.
mugs? Yeah.
I wonder if you could drive up here and pack them up in a box with Gravesco packing.
Instead of the corrugated cardboard?
Yeah, it'd be faster, you know.
I mean, I'm probably not going to drive up there just to pack some.
I know. If only teleportation was real.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Later.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't know how we got to 2 hours almost. Holy shit.
That might just be the funniest fucking podcast we've done.
Oh my gosh. When you're talking about that girl, I hope people like my laugh because I was fucking cracking up multiple times in there. Oh my gosh. Oh. Great. Just great.
This is 122.
Yeah.
People have been messaging me saying, like, I cannot wait until the recap of this show.
Really?
Yeah.
What are you calling it?
I'm calling it Becca's show, but we should have a really funny title. Like a textbook, Don't Be Like Becca. Textbook.
Don't Be Like Becca show edition or something.
Yes! So funny. Mm. I gotta go. I gotta get up at like 7.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna export this. I'll put it on the. I'm gonna stop this recording.